What's up, guys? The UFC 321 card just wrapped up, and how do I put this lightly? A dud main event. The co-main event was alright. Umar vs. Bautista was a good fight. And then Rakic sacrificed his chin for our entertainment. Biggest moment of the main card. Even though he lost, I do give him praise for that. As well as Azamat, of course, for winning. And then Volkov vs. Almeida was a disaster of a fight. Can we just erase Almeida from our memory? Just when we thought he improved and is going to start striking from the Spivak performance, he comes out there like a blanket, throwing 10 significant strikes with almost 11 minutes of top control. Dude, take that to the PFL. And I'm glad Volkov won, even though he probably shouldn't have. But let's start with the main event. Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane go to a no contest after 4 minutes and 35 seconds of the first round. Eye pokes. They ruin the sport. Sometimes you win off of them, and sometimes you're not so lucky. Ciryl Gane poked him twice in the eye. The first one, I don't know if it poked him, but he definitely had his fingers on his face. That's unfortunate for Gane because he was definitely winning the first round. And he looked great out there. I mean, the fact that he defended the takedown and he's, experienced going 5 rounds, the fight was looking promising for him. Landing jabs and a few leg kicks and stuff, but got Aspinall to leak from his nose, and that was pretty much it. Aspinall landed some good shots too. I know a lot of people are focused on Gane strikes and, making it seem like he Davison Figueiredo'd Joseph Benavidez or something. Realistically, that is not what happened. It's like I said in my breakdown, Gane exceeding expectations and causing damage off of his jabs made it seem like he was taking over the fight, but it was too soon to be certain. Aspinall landed some good shots. He landed a jab, a few right hands, some good low kicks, and I think he could have built off of those low kicks within the next rounds and probably make something happen there, because a Ciryl Gane whose foundation has been chopped down is going to be slower to get hit, as well as the takedowns lining up a lot better for Aspinall. So who knows how the fight would have went. It's hard to say who would have won, but it seems like most of the criticism, as expected, is that Tom was not able to defeat Ciryl Gane the way Jon Jones did. And he didn't. Jon Jones beat Ciryl Gane. He beat Ciryl Gane, right? He didn't just beat him easier. He actually won against him. Now, to be fair, there is some missing context. Fighters do get better. Fighters improve. Ciryl Gane is definitely a better fighter than he was when he fought Jones. He learned from that fight. He learned from the Volkov rematch. This Iranian wrestler to hit a new level. And we'll see how that impacts the rematch as well, because there's going to be adjustments made between these two. I was really hoping to see Tom Aspinall in the third round for the first time, but Ciryl Gane had to go and poke him in the eyes, dude. Both eyes. He got him in both eyes. Even Jon Jones is jealous. He wishes he perfected the technique like that. He usually gets one eye at a time, but he also trained with Imavov, who pokes fighters in the eye as well. But hopefully Tom's eye is okay. Hopefully he doesn't need surgery or anything like that. And hopefully they schedule the rematch pretty soon, because Volkov just beat Almeida, right? So he's waiting. Or does he get passed up by Alex Pereira? Because Alex said he'll go up to heavyweight to make it great again. And honestly, after seeing both of their performances, Alex is a live dog in this one, dude, against either guy. Now, Gane and Alex have very distinct styles. Alex is not as elusive as Gane, so he's going to be there for the takedown, whereas Gane is very quick to move away from them. But Alex has shown good takedown defense against Ankalaev, and it's only improving. I don't know, dude. The way Tom Aspinall was striking out there, the way he doesn't move his head sometimes, and the way his chin is just there for the taking. I can see a Shama left hook slapping him across the jaw and KOing him. And I can see him kicking out Ciryl Gane's legs and then knocking him out later. I just don't see Gane beating Alex, to be honest. It's a bad stylistic matchup for him, I think. Just kickboxing with the guy is not the ideal way to beat him. But that should be very interesting. As of now, we know the rematch is going to happen, and this will be Ciryl Gane's 4th title defense in his last 7 fights, which is insane. Holly Holm hasn't even fought for the belt that frequently in that short of a time span, but I can't wait for the rematch. Tom must win this rematch, or he might never fight for the belt again. After all the stuff that's been said on Fight Week, I'm not too sure the brass is too fond with him holding on to that belt. I'll make a video about it. There's a lot of substance there. And then Mackenzie Dern wins the title against Virna Jandiroba. She fought pretty well. Her striking looked much improved. A lot more patient in some sequences. She destroyed Virna's eye with an elbow and grappled pretty well. Virna got some takedowns and landed some shots here and there. And I can't lie, it was very hard to appreciate the fight, knowing that Weili was the champion. Dude, do you know what Weili would have done to both of them? Domination. It would not even have been close. But it is what it is. The strawweight division needs a champion, but honestly, it doesn't look like anybody's even worthy of holding that belt after Zhang Weili did. They're tainting that belt with their hands after Weili held onto it. Strawweight used to be the gold mine of talent for women's MMA, and now look what it's become. But good win for Mackenzie Dern, and I think she should fight. Who does she even fight? Tatiana Suarez? Yan Xiaonan? Amanda Lemos? Dude, Jailton and Lemos already beat her. It's probably going to be Suarez. And as for Verna, I guess give her Jasmine Lucindo. Bro, Verna's beaten so many top contenders. She already beat Jailton, Lemos, and Godinez all in a row before this fight. That's insane. So I guess the number 7 ranked Lucindo, that division is so shallow. If they could just put all the marketing behind Dern, then I think they have something to work with in that division. But when it comes to actual talent and skills, it's lacking big time. But what was not lacking was Umar versus Mario Bautista. That fight was great, and surely Umar's fighting for the belt next. He defeated Mario Bautista by a decision. Now, we all thought that Umar was going to win. He was a heavy favorite going into it. But Bautista proved that he belongs. And honestly, with his performance here, I'm almost okay to look over that Jose Aldo performance. Almost. He head kicked Umar and dropped him in the second round. He was throwing some heat. Umar was taking him down, and it seemed like Bautista just had a very difficult time of thwarting any takedown attempts. But he did hit a switch at one point, reversing the positions on Umar. But Umar just landed so many takedowns throughout, and he essentially Habib'd him in the third. And his striking throughout was getting better, especially after the knockdown. It's almost like his striking skills were awakened from that moment and onward. He was landing some good counter shots, jabs and left hands, and then Bautista listened to his coach going into the third to throw the right straight and right high kick combo, but it was unable to land due to the distance and the placement as to where he threw it. He was too far away for Umar to move out laterally because that's what he wanted, and sometimes they're in the center of the octagon where Umar had all the space to simply move away, and that's all he did, causing the kick to miss. Now, because they're in open stances, Bautista was hoping Umar would lean into the head kick, but the placement and the distance wasn't really there. And ultimately, just a good win for Umar Nurmaogmedov. He's going to fight for the belt next. And honestly, he didn't show anything convincing enough for me to be confident in his skills against Merab. He claims he's going to be much better going into the rematch, but I didn't see anything that tells me that he is going to win. It looks like it's going to be a similar fight to the first one. Bro, Umar was breathing so heavy after that fight was over. A 3-round fight. Now, he prepared for a 3-rounder, which is different than a 5-round training camp, but I honestly think Merab beats him even easier this time. But regardless, that's going to be the next fight. And as for Bautista, he's number 9, and he certainly should be ranked higher for this performance. I don't think you have to win to go up in the rankings. I think even off a loss, it should be possible for the fighter to be bumped up, especially when they're taking a big step up in competition. Number 9 fighting number 2 and making it that competitive clearly shows he should not be number 9. So I would honestly rank him above Amin Zahabi at number 7. Or even above Deiveson Figueiredo at number 6. Actually, you can't do that. Deiveson just won. But I think that should be the next fight. Because it looks like O'Malley's going to fight Yadong. Corey just fought for the title. They could possibly do that one too. But I like Bautista versus Deiveson. That's a great fight. And then Amin Zahabi, I think should fight Corey Sandhagen. Isn't it crazy that Zahabi's like on the cusp of being top 5? I never would have expected that. And then Aleksandar Volkov gets taken care of, winning the split decision against Jailton Almeida. And the Volkov justice got robbed against Ciryl Gane and essentially robs Almeida. Whether I think Almeida should have won the decision or not, that performance was a loss all in itself. 7 takedowns with almost 11 minutes of control time. And he only landed 9 significant strikes with no submission attempts. Cut him. We don't want him around anymore, bro. That's how he performs in a title eliminator fight. Like, sure, I guess there can be an argument that he wins. But if Volkov is going to get any robbery, I'm glad it's in a fight like that. An underdog win, upset. Volkov just had such a tough time defending those takedowns. I mean, in the first round, Almeida shot like 2 seconds into it and got it. It was until the third that Volkov showcased a more sturdy defense, but he was the one who landed strikes. He landed 123 total strikes, 24 significant, and even though that doesn't seem like a lot, it's certainly much more than 9. And because he landed strikes, I think he could have won. I think the decision is reasonable for that. At least he was attempting to cause some sort of damage. Dude, with almost 11 minutes of top control, how do you not even throw ground and pound? He only threw 10 significant strikes. His game plan was to transform into a blanket. Almeida might be very boring, but at the same time, dude, Volkov has to defend takedowns better than that if he wants to ever become a champion or keep himself as like a number 1 contender or something, because that's what he is right now. But with the title rematch, if Volkov wants to fight someone in the meantime, then he could fight Ante Delia, which would be an interesting fight, or he could just wait for the title shot. And what's next for Almeida? The PFL. But he probably should fight Sergey Pavlovich. And then Aleksandar Rakic got slapped by a jab from a blown up welterweight. I was on the Rakic train. I thought he was going to win this fight. I thought his size and distance striking would be the difference maker in this fight. But man, it didn't amount to anything. His high kick got blocked and Murzakanov was swinging for that left hand a few times, but He got knocked out in the first round, and it was off of like sort of a jab, but it didn't anchor when he threw it. It could sort of look like an overhand, but it was a jab, dude. A shot like that knocking Rakic out that easily is not great. That's his 4th loss in a row. Realistically 3 without the controversy of the injury against Jan, but dude, the size difference was comedic. Like, Rakic is a drained heavyweight. He is arguably the biggest fighter in the weight class. I think he even weighs heavier than Alex does at like 240. This guy can actually fight at heavyweight, which honestly should be his next move, but he had all the natural advantages. He's not even a slow fighter for his size either. He tried to get the takedown, Murzakanov was able to flow with it, and then just gets slept. Not even from the left hand, too. Murzakanov's like signature attack is that left winging shot. But Rakic is still going to be around. I think he's going to get one more opportunity, and it should be against someone like Alonzo Menafield or Johnny Walker or something like that. I do think that Azamat is better than his number 10 ranking portrays, so, potentially he's going to be in the top 5. I think he should fight Roundtree or Blachowicz. Those are 2 great fights, and he could perform very well against both of those guys. He has such a speed advantage against most of them, just due to him being so small. What do you guys think about this? Do you think a ranked fighter should ever be on grounds of getting cut? I was thinking about that. Like, if a fighter is ranked, I don't think they should ever get cut. It's until they lose their ranking completely where they should get cut. Well, I guess if he loses the Menafield, Rakic would not be ranked anymore, which is such a descent from the top 5 spot that he had not too long ago to now not even being able to win a fight. But I think he should be Alonzo Menafield, okay? Alonzo Menafield is a doable task. Come on, Rakic, you can't lose a fight like that. And then Quillan Salkilld colded Nasrat Haqparast. One shot with a head kick. That's a cinematic walk-off knockout. No follow-up. And Nasrat went to block it, although he thought it was going to be lower than where it landed. Bro, that was such a scary knockout. It looked like Nasrat got unalived out there. The way he fell and everything, you would think it was choreographed, but it wasn't, of course. I said before, man, if he can win this fight, and especially in emphatic fashion, that he is ready for the rankings. And he did that. Bro, feed him Michael Chandler or Mauricio Hufi. Nonetheless, it's another finishing win for him. Quillan Salkilld is for real, dude. Dude, the last time that Nasrat got beat like this was when he fought Drew Dober almost 6 years ago. And then Ikram Aliskerov defeats Jun Young Park by unanimous decision. It was a pretty average fight. Nothing too unique about this one, except that, finally Ikram showcases his sambo skills offensively. But most of the fight was just a trade of jabs and right hands. Parker trying to counter Ikram's jab with his right straight and right overhand. Ikram landed a high kick in the third, and there were some low blows, and it looked like both fighters were slowing down in the third, which is especially not great for Ikram because he's built up to be like this next contender, and yeah, he's not ready, dude. His striking defense and cardio are not convincing enough that he'll be like some top 5 fighter or something. Top 10 probably, but as of right now, until he improves, he's certainly not top 5. But I do think he should fight someone in the rankings next. And Roman Dolidze would be an interesting fight. So Dolidze versus Aliskerov should be the next fight. And then Ludovit Klein and Mateusz Rebecki went to war. Definitely should get the fight of the night. And Ludovit Klein made sure that he wasn't going to lose to another Mateusz. Klein seemed to be much faster, strung in some amazing kickboxing combinations, and split Rebecki's face open. Bro, that guy's going to have so much scar tissue by the time his career is done that the wind would open him up. But he rallied in the third, took Klein to the ground, got some really good positions on top, crucifix, landed some ground and pound shots, and Klein broke his foot. That's the only reason he wasn't able to get up. Within the fight, and even after it, his foot got broken from the takedown, his toes bent in, and he sat on top of it. They announced him as the winner as he's sitting in a stool. That guy is a warrior. There's no other word to describe Ludovit Klein and Mateusz Rebecki, honestly. But the scorecards were quite peculiar because why would they score it 28-27 and 28-28? Let me see here. How did they score this? So Ben Cartilage gave Klein a 10-8 in the second, and then Rebecki a 10-8 in the third. And then Tony Weeks gave Rebecki a 10-8 in the third solely. So that's interesting. Klein did rock Rebecki a few times in the second. That's when he had some great combinations. He hurt him with a check right hook. I disagree with it being a 10-8, but I could see it being a Klein win or a draw. That's a great win for Ludovit Klein, man. And then we go to Valter Walker, getting his 4th heel hook in a row against Louie Sutherland. This will never be replicated ever again, despite what we say about his competition. 4 first-round heel hooks in a row. Deserves Hall of Fame status, and then he calls out Hamdy Abdelwahab after. He knows what he's doing, dude. Fighting a wrestling blob. Valter is truly the blob slayer. Bro's about to get his 5th heel hook in a row. This guy pulled a heel hook from half guard after getting such an easy takedown before. Ciryl Gane has to be filled with envy to see that. Do you know how many times that guy tried to pull that off and failed? Dude, and then he gives Chris Barnett his new nickname, the Chocolate Peppa Pig. I never thought I would like Valter Walker more than Johnny Walker. We got John Pork, we got Peppa Pig. What's next, dude? And then Nathaniel Wood defeats Jose Delgado by a decision. I don't know about this one, dude. Delgado missed weight and is very unprofessional, but at the same time, I thought he won the fight. But this was a great fight. Nathaniel Wood got dropped in the first round and then pulls off a knockdown, rebounds, stays technical in the second and third, veteran-like composure. Bro, it's insane. Watching how different Wood vs. Delgado is compared to some of the other fights on this card. Like, the athleticism, the skill, the fight IQ, everything was superior to like 80% of the fights on this card. And these are two unranked fighters. Other fights like Ludovit Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki was pretty good. Umar vs. Bautista was high level. You know, the way Quillan lined up the head kick. There were a few good moments in fights throughout this card, but man, Wood and Delgado were fighting on a different level. And for Nathaniel Wood to overcome such a size disparity and a fighter who missed weight on top of that is nothing short of impressive. No pun intended. Dude, he got dropped so badly after the high kick missed, which created momentum into the spinning elbow, drops Wood, lands ground and pound shots, and the guy still gets up and stays poised while Delgado is swinging with all of his might in some of those punches. Then he lands a knockdown with his right overhand while Jose Delgado is retracting his left body kick. And then Delgado gets back into his rhythm and the fight just carries on, dude. What a crazy first round that was. Then in the second, Delgado throwing up high kicks, combinations with knees, and Wood just constantly was walking him down, landing right hands, low kicks. Nathaniel Wood was truly like the perfect opponent to test Jose Delgado, as Delgado is so lethal with everything he throws. He's always seeking a knockout, and against a very persistent and skilled fighter like Wood, hopefully it makes Delgado a better fighter because this guy has a lot of potential when he makes weight. There was like 2 low blows in the fight as well. They seemed unintentional, but still impacted the fight. And then the trading of combinations in the third, body and headshots. Delgado fading away with his hook and putting more focus on the body shots. Wood was working off his jabs and counter shots until he won the fight. Such a great fight. I still think Delgado should have won, but it wasn't like an egregious robbery or anything. It is what it is. It was a good fight. And then Hamdy Abdelwahab defeats Chris Barnett by a decision. This fight was ass. Literally. Horrible fight. Hamdy was landing right hands and shooting takedowns, and Barnett really couldn't defend most of it. He even ulted at one point, and it missed by a mile. That spinning heel kick. Yeah, not much else to say about this fight. Hamdy got an easy win. He did elbow him in the back of the head at one point. That was pretty bad. Well, give him Valter Walker. And then Mitch Raposo defeats Azamat by a decision. This guy misses weight by 3 pounds. Proceeds to cheat in the fight by grabbing onto the fence, blatantly too. Bro had every advantage and still lost. And even though Raposo is the winner, the real MVP is the referee. Finally, we have a ref who's not afraid to take a point away when the fighter cheats. It was a horrible fence grab. Like, he grabbed it literally because he couldn't get up from the bottom. Pulled himself up, and it looked like Raposo was oblivious to what happened. He was very confused until the referee deducted a point. No hard warnings, just immediately took the point away. That's what we gotta see. Yo, whoever that ref is, let's put him in title fights, number 1 contender fights, and respect to Mitch Raposo for winning. He was landing overhands, left hooks, darting through with those step-in jabs, and even though Moxham had some good takedowns, it just wasn't enough to supersede the damage from Raposo. And Moxham is probably going to get cut after that. He was already on a 2-fight loss streak. To miss weight, cheat, and then lose your 3rd fight in a row? Yeah, they're probably not going to keep him around. And then Mizuki defeats Jacqueline Amorim by a decision. This fight was pretty surprising. Amorim was a big favorite going into it. She didn't fight like we anticipated she would. She was sticking behind the jabs and shooting a lot of takedowns, but wasn't as confident in her power, and I think it's because of how much Mizuki was pressuring her throughout the entire fight. I mean, she did not let up, throwing with more constant volume. She has definitely improved from the last time we've seen her, over 2 years ago, and she's in much better physical shape too. But Amorim was winning the first round. She got the takedown off the body lock, got the back and then full mount, gift wrapped her before Mizuki reversed the position and got on top in full guard. And then Mizuki dropped Amorim in the third with body knees. That was a very impressive performance from Mizuki. And that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave in the comments below what were your guys' favorite fights. What did you think of the card as a whole? And I'll see you guys in the next video.